Laugh at that. How dare you laugh at that? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Monkey in the Morning. I'm your host, the Ranting Monkey. He's Jack. Say hello, Jack.
Hi, everybody.
And that beautiful man at the bottom of the screen there, that is Mike Harlow. Mike, how are you doing, man?
I'm so good. I'm so happy to be here. I am so excited. I'm so excited.
I'm not even that excited to be here.
No, I've told you this, but like, I'm one of those people who used to be like stupid liberal Democrat, and you were one of the very first channels I started listening to when my views started changing. Like, I would just get screamed at and shrieked at all day long by liberals. I would come home and cook dinner and listen to the Ranting Monkey, and it was like my one link to sanity.
Oh,
wow! A link to sanity, me guys. That's kind of hard to take.
That's how you know things have gone real insane, because when people like us, when we're the sane ones,
yes,
there's problems.
Indeed. Just for the record, I told the audience this. There's a good chance that about half of this show will not be on YouTube tonight, guys, because I do want to talk to you tonight about your views on like the trans insanity that we've seen. But YouTube has been kind of squirrely on that. So when we get to that part, we'll probably cut off YouTube and go exclusive to Rumble for that.
I love that I brought that upon you.
Well, it's YouTube, man. You can't tell with these assholes. I literally got a strike the other day for saying I wasn't going to talk about something. They eventually reversed it, but that's what the strike was originally for.
I had the weirdest thing happen with one of the recent shows I did, the one before my last one, which, by the way, if anyone is watching, check out my YouTube channel. I have a little weekly show called Microaggressed. But yeah,
before you go on, the link for his channel is in the description along with his Twitter link. So check that out. Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry about that.
It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. So there was a segment I had some guests on where we were just looking at one of the crazy transes on Reddit and just commenting on it. So overnight, they took my stream offline. I didn't know until people started telling me. And then it got put back up. And I noticed it was 3 minutes shorter. And somehow that segment was just gone.
Wait, wow. They cut it for you?
Mm-hmm. And if you click on the editing thing, it doesn't even show that it was edited.
Oh, why would they want to do that? Because then they can't gaslight you into like, oh, we didn't do that. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that happening before.
That makes sense, though. That's the next logical step in their system, you know.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Just go ahead and cut it out.
So I was like, screw you. I went back with the next episode, and I was like, okay, now we're going to have a whole segment called Transes of the Week.
Nice. Now, I have so many questions for you. The first one, I got to get this out of the way. Excuse me, guys. My voice is good. Do you speak for all gay people?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so, because I saw a tweet to you where it said, Mike only cares about money and fame. He doesn't care about the gay community.
I love that they think that I have either one.
It's nice, though, right?
Yeah. It's so funny that people who try to insult me, they're always like telling me, they're like, oh, you're a skinny bitch. I'm like, oh, you think I'm skinny?
You are skinny.
Young little. I'm like, so you're telling me you think I'm skinny, young, rich, famous? Thank you.
Right.
It's compliments will get you everywhere, you know.
But do you run into that a lot where you find where people just, because as a cis white male, nobody's ever like, you speak for all the cis white guys. But when it comes to like gay guys, you guys are supposed to speak for the collective.
Well, it's funny because it really is perpetrated by the left as well, because they claim to speak for all of these groups. Yet under their ideology, it really is only straight white males that get to act like individuals where there isn't that expectation upon you.
Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? We're the ultimate bad guys, but we're the only ones allowed to have independent thought.
Yeah. Well, I always say, I'm like, if anybody actually believes, if you think the left actually cares about any of these groups they claim to, try being one and disagree with them once. See what happens.
Yeah, I suggested that to Ed Krasenstein the other day because he's like, we can get along. He's saying some stupid shit. I'm like, hey Ed, disagree once, I dare you.
Mm-hmm.
Just once.
Who is that guy? I keep seeing him on Twitter. He is a stupid ass.
him and his twin brother, who may or may not be incestuously gay, they
No one
used
else
to.
wants to fuck him.
They've been trying to get internet famous. They've been trying to get internet famous for decades, and they finally hit on the resistance wave. And they used to post just really nonsensical stuff, and then they got kicked off for buying bots for viewers. And when they came back, they've obviously hooked up with somebody like Midas Media or one of those guys, and so they're just pushing that crap out at the same rate the others do.
It's so funny too when these people say that, you know, anybody who publicly speaks any views that aren't leftist, they'll call you a grifter. So
Sure.
It's amazing how they think that like somebody like me, it's like, yeah, that's the real. I wanted a very specific niche, so that's the grift I chose. Like if I were a liberal, I would be rich and famous. Apparently, you look at these like shill twinks that the DNC is paying. I didn't know that like shouting at a camera and gesturing was apparently so lucrative. All I would have had to do is be a liberal.
When you called them the shill twinks, I lost my shit.
They are.
Jack,
that's super catchy.
Do you know who we're talking about, Jack? The
the Gen Zers that.
Yes.
Oh my God, you don't understand us. Oh,
Gen Z is watching. Gen Z is watching. Gen Z knows if you've been naughty, if you've been nice.
I'm happy with them watching. What they need to do though is shut the fuck up and listen.
Yeah, you know, if you spelled it differently, I'd think it was a venereal disease. Gen Z. Oh, you got some Gen Z?
I got that
Ooh,
Gen
is
Z.
that burn when you pee?
So bad.
I mean, it basically is.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
It's like they missed every opportunity to be cool, so all the cool stuff was over by the time they were born. So now the coolest thing they could be is a paid shill.
Yeah,
it's sad.
It's so true. It's like culture died. I think sort of the end times of any sort of unifying culture was like the early 2000s. That was sort of the end times.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
All right, let me switch gears a little bit because you said something the other day, or yesterday actually. Was yesterday the first time you ever did a solo stream?
Yes. It was. I had such a phobia of like being alone on camera. I'm like, I don't know what crazy things I'll end up saying, or I don't know. I'm kind of awkward.
Shizo in chat says, I got Gen Z from an airport toilet. You got to be careful. Put down that paper. Put down that paper.
Yeah, the magic protective paper.
Jack and I both do solo streams quite often. Jack when he's on his own channel, and me when Jack can't make it to the show. And I do remember the first time that I did it after this show was kind of established, and there was kind of a, hey, there's always somebody here with me, and being a little bit nervous, but I'm just a natural born talker. And don't take this wrong. You seem like you might be too.
Oh, thank you. Aw. Yeah, it was really fun. I was like, oh, this wasn't scary.
It's also a lot more helpful when the audience is participating.
Yeah. You know what I realized is kind of helpful, because I'm sure you've experienced this too, that bare minimum, I would say like 90% of content creators are the absolute scum of the earth. So I'm like, okay, then I don't have to like start inviting people I don't like on the show.
Yeah.
I don't tend to interact with many of them, and a lot of them avoid me because I've insulted the wrong people.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know,
maybe it's that I'm too inappropriate.
Oh yeah, I've my inappropriateness has always been directed at people. I've had lots of people I've interacted with, and then they just kind of disappear. I don't know if they finally actually. I did. I don't know.
Inappropriate. But, but I'm sorry. The judge in my flashing case said that too, and I didn't listen to him.
You've got to start listening to that judge.
Whatever.
Yeah, though I call them the appropricons. These people who are just always they're so appropriate, and they love to appease people, and they're so full of shit.
You know what bothers me, and we're going down a whole different road here. It's the ones who, if you hear them talk off stream and stuff, they are the most foul-mouthed pieces of shit but when they get on stream, it's like they're on network television in the 80s.
Yep.
Poo-poo. Do you mean shit? Because that's what you would say every time.
How dare you use language like that?
Thank you, Keldrick. It says, wow, Monkey, you weren't lying. Mike is almost as gay as your hair. For the reference, I told people, because I actually described you this way to my wife. I was like, Mike is as gay as the day is long.
Oh, thank you.
And it's not an insult the way I'm saying it. You just are. You're not like over the top stereotype. But if you were in a lineup and they said pick the gay guy, I'd go, that one right there.
That's what pisses me off though, is that like, no, thank you. I appreciate that. Is that, you know, with gay people, you're not allowed to be an individual. You're not allowed to be your own person. There's no other group of people on earth beyond the alphabet people that have these sort of boxes that they try to put you in. And I mean, these people will crush your bones trying to fit you into it. So the years that I sort of spent trying to fit in with these people, it's always, you're too gay, you're too straight, there's always something that it all amounts to you're too much of an individual.
Well, what I enjoy about you with your content when it comes to that specific part, like, yeah, this guy's gay, but you know what I don't hear? I don't hear a lisp. Your voice didn't change because you became gay. And I've known so many people who are, I'm gay now, and they get that fucking ridiculous stereotype voice.
It's all fake. No, I had somebody I dated once where he was normal when we were alone, and then the minute we were around a group of people, his voice would go up an octave. He'd be snapping his fingers. It's all so fake. All that shit that they do, everything about them is fake. I can't stand it.
And that's what gets pushed in the media for gay people. It's not. You rarely run into something, and maybe one character on Will and Grace and Dave Rubin are the ones that I can point to where you're like, these are gay people who are not the stereotype, over the top, ridiculous. Do you understand how fucking insulting that is to gay people?
Well, the thing is, though, we see what they want us to see. I didn't know this until a couple of years ago, but GLAAD actually has a representative in the writer's room for any TV show that has a gay character. So it's very deliberate that that's the image that we see, because these sort of archetypes and affectations that they push on us, these boxes that they try to push us in, what is that? It's a platform for personhood. And that dictates everything about you, your politics, what music you have to listen to, how you approach relationships, everything about you. So they love people seeing that because that makes for a very compliant person.
Minister Brong thinks, thank you so much. He says, sup, dudes? Who's this guy? His avatar moves. Yeah, he has his camera on, which, by the way, you don't have to. It's up to you. But this is Mike Harlow. I've been pumping this up for a while. Pay attention. By the way, links to all of this stuff are in the description, both on Rumble and YouTube.
Yeah, I gotta start my Rumble up more. YouTube, it's sort of like the only place I haven't been banned from yet, so I know it's coming.
Yeah, I would definitely. Jack has been pushing Rumble on me for a long time, and I finally started listening, and it worked out because since we've gone on Rumble, we've actually been banished for a couple of weeks, so it worked out. But to your writer's room thing, can you imagine if they did that with stereotypical black hood? Oh, you got a black guy in there. He better talk like this and like the rap, yo. Can you imagine? Yep.
Because I think that really shows how they're kind of different problems. That I think the problems in the black culture are sort of bottom up. They're legitimate issues. Whereas with the alphabet people, it's very top down. It's very coming from a higher power. And that higher power ain't God. It's from these groups. It's from the special interests. They are the ones pushing this on everyone. It's very inauthentic.
How much do you actually run into it on a? Because you've gotten more and more into spaces, I would say. From watching you, do you run into it in your day-to-day life, or is this just shit you see on Twitter?
No, it's what do you mean with like the alphabet people shit?
Yeah, the alphabet people shit.
No, I think it's infected real life.
Oh,
because the thing is, the things that they push are so insidious. Just the culture, and this is the thing that I try to get people to realize. It's not just the transes. That's definitely like the next and probably the most evil evolution of it, but there are plenty of problems outside of this because the culture just amongst gay people, the toxic, poisonous culture that they push on us, it's infected every aspect of people's lives. And what I think some people don't realize is that this poisonous culture in the gay culture, that is what they are now trying to, and have very successfully done, is they've exported that out to the general population, where it's like, just bang everyone, just do all the drugs, don't get married, don't have families. That's now kind of becoming mainstream culture.
And you would attribute that to gay culture to start?
Kind of. I guess feminism is part of it as well, but
oh god, yeah.
Yeah.
Leave it to the women to ruin this stuff. I mean, well, I got a gay buddy who's very, very left-wing, and he just listens to left-wing news outlets, but he constantly buys into a lot of the propaganda being put out that, like, all Christians want to kill gays. It's like the 1980s perception is of gay culture is what is being pushed, and I think that's a lot of the leadership age group of the gay community seems to be people that lived through the 80s, and there's a bitterness there, like hating Christianity, hating the Republicans, that they kind of bought into all those stereotypes and think those threats are still lurking. Does that make sense?
Oh, of course, and it's ridiculous. It's insane, and I know that that's true because I used to be one of those people who bought into it. I used to believe all the same shit that they do. I used to think, oh, Christians are just these hateful people. I mean, since I've sort of been speaking openly and stuff, I've been shown more love and kindness from Christians than I ever did from gay people. Christians are a million times nicer.
Well, I mean, the true Christian thing is hate the sin, love the sinner, right?
Yeah. And most people don't care. It's just ridiculous, this idea that anyone gives a shit. Like, if somebody thinks, oh, they care about my sexual, or you're not that special. Nobody is sitting there thinking about you.
Indeed.
100%. Hey, nobody got time for that.
No.
Gotta worry about fighting off Russian invaders at some point. Or being afraid of the COVID. There's a million things to be afraid of right now.
See, I talk about this when it comes to just, self-esteem with people who are like, I get nervous and nobody cares about you. They just don't think about you that much. Maybe you tripped and they laughed about it and told a friend, and then they immediately forgot. They're not going to hunt you down and just laugh at you.
Yeah, I think a lot of these poisonous things that are being pushed on everyone sort of originated with the alphabet people, the self-love, self-esteem, the anti-bullying, the hedonistic culture. So many of these things. Basically, what I'm saying is just the alphabet cult is the root of all our problems.
I think it's a root of a lot of it. I think feminism and then the alphabet bullshit.
I would argue that a lot of this stuff comes from the communists.
Oh yeah, 100%.
They just weaseled their fucking ideology into everything, and it's so infectious and poisonous. It's destroying all of us. That's why we have to unite against the commies.
To that point, Jack, I mean, when it comes to the alphabet culture, I mean, a lot of that was the rejection of religion, which the commies love rejecting religion unless it's communism itself.
You can tie a lot of problems back to the Frankfurt School. I'm just saying. We were all happier in the 90s, and then communism made a resurgence, and look what's going on now.
God, the 90s were so great. It was really the 80s, 90s. It was really like the best of times.
It was
good stuff.
Lots of great technological advances, and the world made a lot more sense. I don't want to be that old guy. It's like, oh, in my day. But ladies and gentlemen, seriously, in my day, it was so much nicer.
I know.
And now, Mike, you mentioned listening to this show. What started you down the path of going, maybe the leftists are wrong?
I think it was a bunch of different things. It was sort of like death by a thousand cuts, I guess. But one of the big things was the political correctness that started. Suddenly, every day I was being called all these words that I'd never been called in my life. Suddenly, I'm a white supremacist. I'm homophobic. I'm this, I'm that. I always say I'm like, only homophobic is true. But I think what really sort of fast tracked it was I'd always kind of been interested in politics, and then the election in 2016. I've never had any agenda with anyone, so I was just trying to educate myself on who to vote for between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton.
Oh,
which feels so gross to say now, but at the time it wasn't even a thought to vote Republican. So I was just trying to educate myself and learn about their histories and the records, and you're not allowed to do that. The more information I sought, the more I would be told, you can't think that, you can't, like I would just be screamed at regardless of which one of them it was for. And then suddenly that's when we started hearing about the they, thems and all of these different things. And the more you would have any opinion on something, the more you would be told you can't say that, you can't think that.
Jack has a friend. The 2016 election had a weird. Jack, your friend who was convinced that Trump was going to kill everyone or all the gays.
Yeah. So my buddy Rick, he's one of the straightest gay men you'll ever meet because he's just a normal dude except for his pink shoes. And then he starts talking and he's like, oh, he's super cute. And you're like, oh, you're gay? You know, he doesn't talk about any of his sexuality or anything. And then one day he comes up to me and he's like, you know, if Trump gets elected, I'm going to have to be on the run. I was like, what? So me and one of our friends who's also gay are standing there talking to him about it. And he's telling us how Trump's going to hunt down the gays and put them in concentration camps. And me and the other dude are looking at each other like, what the fuck is this lunatic talking about? But he was convinced because he had heard it somewhere from a friend of a friend of a friend kind of thing, that this was the secret agenda to round up the gays. Like, what a waste of taxpayer money. Nobody cares, dude.
Exactly. It's such narcissism. It's such narcissism. Yes. Not everything is about you. But God, I'm a little disappointed. Like, I had big plans for those gay concentration camps.
Right?
There's going to be a party up in there.
Yeah.
Think of how well they would have been decorated.
But no, it was like he had a go bag and everything. He had a little go bag in his car. He had a go bag in his apartment. That dude was ready to run. He had money, like cash money in his go bags. And he's like, I think I can work out some safe. He had plans. I'm like, dude, I'm not that well prepared for the fucking apocalypse. Come on.
Well, that's what they're now. There are now people saying that about DeSantis in Florida. I've seen all these TikToks from people saying, we're leaving Florida tonight. It's not safe here. It's not safe because DeSantis said you cannot instruct first graders on sexuality. So it's not safe.
I guess it's not safe if you're a pedophile, but other than the sharks, the bath salts, Florida man, all of Miami, and whatever perverts are working at Disney World. So I guess there's some kind of point there, but otherwise I'd be more worried about hurricanes than DeSantis.
Yeah.
Well, this comes back to the absolute egocentrism of it. Like they're going to come. Trump never said anything even close to that. I knew people on Facebook who weren't quite as that far along, Jack, but Trump is coming for us. To do what?
Well, what got me was I saw a lot of people on my Facebook feed around 2016 that were saying shit like this. They're worried about the gay community, and Trump's going to round them up. This wasn't just one person. He was just the funniest about it because he had the most plans.
Sure.
Like, seriously, he went through the prepper checklist. I'm like, do you have a basement full of hydroponics, too, that aren't weed? Because, you know, come the apocalypse, I'm coming over to your house, but I don't really give a shit about nobody's going to round you up, dude. It's just not going to happen.
The thing that really got me about it is none of those people that I know were like that came out after Trump left and were like, yeah, we were wrong.
No, it's just always on to the next hysteria. Now DeSantis is going to round them up.
Now they won't even let us say the word gay.
Oh my God. It's all they talk about. It's all. I literally, do you remember that movie Bros?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dear God.
So I finally watched it. I edited together every time in the movie that they say that one of these terms, gay, LGBTQ. The compilation of that was over 3 minutes long. of them saying words that are like 3-4 letters long. So I mean, don't say gay. It's all they fucking say.
I saw part of that movie, and I was like, "This movie's it wasn't successful because it's terrible."
Yeah,
And it had a lot of sex stuff in it, and I'm like, "This is not what was advertised. This is just a poorly written disaster film." I think that the guy that wrote it, I think he's also the guy that starred in it. It looked like it was just a movie so he could try and hook up with the lead actor guy.
yes.
I was like, this is your dating platform, dude.
Hang on real quick. Let me get this. Travis Gardner, thank you so much. Says, I do have to say, having a go bag is a smart idea. If there's a reason for it, sure.
I mean, I had no problem with that part. It was the reasoning for it, because when you have an emergency travel bag, you should have a specific plan in mind, like not just where you're going, that sort of thing, but be prepared for that event that you're planning for. If you think the electrical grid's going down, act accordingly, and don't take a bunch of laptops because they're going to be useless. The escaping Trump travel bag just doesn't seem like something that's easily prepared for, because he's kind of all over the place. But it's also like not practical for any other application. If civilization collapses, you need a specific plan. You know, you can't just be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just not be at my house. That's
Always
totally impractical.
I wonder if maybe that's because deep down they know it's bullshit, somewhere buried way deep.
I need to apologize to Mike. My internet just cut out. So if I just disappear for a second or two, it's my crappy internet. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's cool.
You'll carry on without me.
Yeah.
Going back to your movie,
pick up the ranting.
I've noticed in gay media, it's never like I said with gay men. It's like, this is a guy who's gay. Chances are the rest of his life is not that much different from yours. He might be a little more promiscuous. That you guys have way more sex than we do. It's
not a good thing though. People think, I have straight friends who are like, oh, I wish it were that. I'm like, no, you don't. I promise you don't. It's horrible. It's a really bad thing. I think that's what they promote to people. They sell this just completely false bill of goods that's a road to a lonely, miserable life, that they just encourage people, bang everyone, do all the drugs, party your life away. And no wonder these people wake up at 40, 50, 60, and then they're miserable and alone.
And have monkeypox.
Yes. Maybe you originated the monkeypox.
I might have.
We had they bees.
Yes.
And that's where monkeypox came from. They got the monkey from you, the gay from me.
When it comes to gay media though, like that, it's like the whole thing is just about how gay they are, instead of here's a story about a guy who's he's gay, and here's his love story, sure. But it's like, no, he's the gayest gay. He's Jesus gay.
That's what I hated about that movie Bros, is they had the perfect opportunity funding wise to make just a rom-com that was about two dudes.
Yeah.
And they squandered it with lazy propaganda and really shitty writing. Like it was on par with like Sex in the City level, you know, like vapid middle-aged wine moms would probably like the writing, but nobody that has a third grade reading level or above is going to enjoy this at all. It's just squandered opportunity. And I found that more offensive, because filmmaking should be about making something entertaining, not making Triumph of the Will for idiots.
Hey, you got to get that Oscar nod.
Ugh.
It's deliberate though. Like I said, we see what they want us to see. The gay media is just like their enforcement arm to keep particularly gay people in line and make sure that they're fulfilling the proper personhood platforms that they're meant to.
God, that's so horrifying to think about, because it really does feel like like the Klan directing anti-Klan propaganda. You know what I mean? Like, it's a bunch of like, here, we're gonna enforce these stereotypes. Ha ha ha.
No, well, actually, one of the things that was sort of another thing that led to my red pilling around that time is so I've always been a little bit of a writer. I'd written a series that was sort of like an honest, and I was still a liberal at the time. It wasn't a political show or anything, but it was about dating and being gay, but from an honest point of view. So basically, the exact opposite of all that bros shit.
Mhm.
So we had a bunch of meetings that we were pitching it and shit. They shut that shit down. I got a letter from one of those GLAD type groups. They were like, "We will fight you every step of the way in getting this made. You hate yourself. You like," so they will not allow anything that's outside of that sort of paradigm.
Well, let me ask.
Wow.
My theory is that if gay people were shown as gay people are, just people who happen to be gay, it would be a lot more. It would do a lot more for the gay community to get acceptance than the flamboyant bullshit that we see.
I think though you're looking at it like they want acceptance. They don't. They want compliance.
Oh, that's fair.
They want everyone in line, everyone being exactly the same. No, because whenever they've done movies that were like the Birdcage made, I think, like $500 million.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When you start to have your red pilled moment, did you have to get a whole new group of friends?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I lost every single friend I ever had in my life.
Oh, that
And what's
sucks.
interesting is I always say it goes way beyond politics. It's not, they made Trump into their ultimate evil orange man, but I didn't vote for Trump in 2016. I wasn't that far red pilled yet. There was a good year or 2 years between sort of leaving the left and not becoming a Republican yet and just being kind of politically homeless. You're not allowed to do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, no disagreement. It does not matter. My favorite example of this is J.K. Rowling. That woman is so left. She is so left that I have called her a commie before, but she disagreed on the biology and what a woman is, and she is basically Hitler. Like, that makes no sense.
It's so insane too, because I'll always get these messages from these crazy alphabet people calling me a traitor and stuff. And I'm always like,
yeah.
How can I be a traitor to a group that I never joined? Or do you think that you're just entitled to our entire beings from birth? Because if they say that you're born gay, well, I never joined any LGBTQ community. Is there just some sort of blood oath from birth that they expect?
Yes, it's fealty to your regional lord.
Yes.
They're the nobility, and your fealty is granted by your existence. Compliance is non-optional.
Well, this is what I was talking about with me and Jack. Nobody ever's like, you're straight white men, you're supposed to be Democrat or Republican or Libertarian. They're just like, oh, you're just straight white men. We're allowed our own things. Where the different groups, because the alphabet group is definitely one of them, but you have the racial, you have the female. Female has this as well. How dare you? You're supporting things that go against your gender.
Oh,
like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I know. Was there a vote that I missed?
Yeah.
Or
You better act the right way.
Well, and it's funny because they have a very clear ranking of the progressive stack, who outranks whom. And so for all that they grandstanded for so long about women and gender and Me Too, you see their true feelings for women now, because trans outranks everyone.
Yes.
But you're seeing how they really feel about women. They're completely okay with violence against women. They're completely okay with abusing women.
Men make the best women.
As long as it's on the sporting pitch.
Yeah.
By the way, right before I came on, I got this weird comment from, have you heard of this bitch? I had to look her up. I didn't know who she was. Alexandra Billings.
That does not sound familiar.
That sounds like somebody in witness protection. Like what an innocuous name. I would trust that person, right?
Well, funny you should mention that. So she's like trans Hollywood. She's been in all these shows and stuff. But so went to this like year-old video on my Instagram of me with my dad. I'm with my parents, and my dad is telling this funny story about me as a kid, and I had like given the finger to a midget on the school bus. That's how I got suspended from summer camp. But so anyway, though, there were no tags that would have brought her there. So I'm like, this bitch searched through my entire page and was very triggered at this video of me laughing with my dad and left this like nasty comment. And I'm like, why that video? Why not any of the videos? If she's going to comment something, why not any of the videos where I've talked about, the transes or Jeffrey? This is one of the people who supports Jeffrey Marsh. And this is the woman who, do you remember that Muslim woman who was exposing Jeffrey Marsh?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so this is the woman who like led the charge against her and was completely fine with people threatening her kids and all that. So anyway, this chick like leaves this nasty comment on a video of me laughing with my dad. And I'm like, there's a reason that was the video that triggered her, because they cannot stand to see an intact, loving family, especially if it's a gay person who's close with his dad. They can't have people seeing that. They want to completely destroy the family unit. They want you to hate your fathers.
Yeah.
I mean, the narrative right now is if you are not cis, and you
the audio ducking. This is what happens when his internet goes squirrely.
There you are.
Damn it.
Do you Spectrum? Because I have Spectrum internet and they're the worst.
Right? No, I actually we're on Starlink right now because I live in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Lucky.
I know, right?
I'm stuck in New York City still. I'm trying to move to Florida.
How's that crime rate treating you?
Oh, it's miserable, dude. People forget, like, this city used to be so great. It used to be so wonderful, and now it's just horrible. It feels like post-apocalyptic.
You're just reverting back to the 70s and early 80s.
Well, and beyond even the crime, like, everyone just looks down. Half the people are still wearing masks. Everyone avoids each other.
Well, it sounds like a socialist utopia there.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna end up with one of those 15-minute cities like they got in China.
Yeah, it's funny. They did what Osama bin Laden couldn't do. They killed New York.
Yeah, I just saw a story today about how many people.
Where we're going. How many people? What?
Oh, fuck my internet. How many people are leaving New York? And
trying.
There's a ton of people just leaving the state because it's garbage. And New York City specifically, New York's income sank $16 billion compared to pre-COVID as residents leave.
And I mean, these people are so brainwashed. They're the ones pushing for it. They're the ones pushing for the party and the ideology that took their jobs, that took everything from them, locked them up, muzzled their kids.
Yeah. Oh, hey, I got a couple of chats here I got to grab.
Oh, grab them.
Thank you, Travis Gardner, putting the camp into concentration camp. Yeah, you think when somebody says concentration camp, you think that sounds nerdy. What is that, like math camp? Because you're going to go camping, but you're going to be learning. It's you're supposed to think about what you did wrong, but it never sounds like that. It just sounds super nerdy. Like, oh, chess club, great. Thank you, Evolved Potato. Trump was literally the first president that was coming into office that was openly accepting of gay people. They're saying Obama wasn't, but Trump was, and he was still anti-gay, apparently. He's a very complicated man, being the omnipresent devil for every group.
Remember, Obama wasn't even on the gay marriage train until after the 2012 election. Yeah. He made sure he got elected first. And then he was like, oh, yeah, kind of, maybe we like them gays.
When it was politically expedient for him to do so. Never trust a politician.
Yep. And I think they know it, and that's why there's such a push with like you had said, the gay media and stuff, because they are losing so many of us. I mean, in 2020, the LGBT vote for Trump doubled from what it was in 2016. It was almost 1 in 3 LGBT Americans that voted for Trump in 2020. So they're really losing control, I think, slowly. Because, I mean, think about it. The stuff that they're pushing flies in the face of everything that gained gay people acceptance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
now they're trying to do all this disgusting shit with children.
Yeah, that I think is going to really kill a lot of the goodwill that has been built up over the last 30 years. Because, like, Drag Queen Story Hour is one of the most perniciously sinister looking things. Like, let's take the freakiest people who are doing something mildly sexual and then put kids in there.
I'm going to stop us. I'm going to stop us on that. We'll pick up that in about 20 minutes when we go to Rumble exclusively.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. No.
That was foreshadowing. That's what
story technique.
Yeah.
Mike, did you grow up there in New York?
Yeah, right in the city.
Really?
It used
What's
to
that
be
like?
great. It was fun. It kind of. I grew up on. I don't know if you've been here. If you know the Upper West Side. It's where if you've ever seen the movie You've Got Mail, it's where that took place, or it's where Ghostbusters took place.
Oh, okay.
I had to translate that into straight guy.
Yes, I need that in straight. Thank you.
I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need pop culture references because I've been to New York like twice and got lost. Didn't like it. Too much traffic and a lot of angry people and people with retarded accents. Brooklyn. I mean,
oh God, that's just like socialist paradise now.
That accent, that and the Boston accent, people in those regions think they're really cool, but you get out of there and you just sound like you have Down syndrome.
Boston's
oh my God,
worse.
he's a special.
No, though, it used to be so great. I feel like people think that how New York is now is how it always was, but it used to be such a great place. I used to love it here so much, but everything that made New York great is just now gone.
Now, I'm guessing, you're still in your 20s, yeah?
Yeah. Thank you.
Are you not in your 20s? Because if you're not, I'm going to kick you off this.
No, why?
Because you look too young to not be in your 20s.
Oh, thank you.
Are you like in your 30s? Really?
How dare you? That's hate speech.
Yeah. Jeez, monkey.
Critical Orc, thank you. Rally the Horde boys. DeSantis and the Pink Skins are passing the Don't Say Green bill. That fucker. He was coming for he was going to get the reptilians eventually. No, the reason I ask is
Orcs aren't reptilians.
You're growing up there. You're a kid in what? Were you a kid in the 90s? Do you remember much of the 90s? Okay.
Yeah, the 90s were amazing.
So you're there when Giuliani's cleaning up the fucking place.
Yeah, and let me tell, like, okay, he's nuts now. Like, I think he's lost his mind a little bit in his old age.
Sure.
But he was so great. Ask anyone who lived in New York when Giuliani was mayor. You used to all the time just see him around the city. Like, that's how hard he was working.
Well, I remember
Blasio nowhere.
When me and Jack are growing up in the 80s, New York, especially something like Times Square, it's like, if you go to New York, don't go there. Just see it from pictures because you're going to get stabbed and probably raped.
Yeah, it was like the Warriors.
Yes, exactly.
Like somebody's going to kill Cyrus. I'm out of here.
Giuliani comes in and cleans it up quite a bit. And it just seems to me with what we've seen, especially with de Blasio, God, what a Jew-hating, horrible piece of shit he was, that they're just reversing it all and trying to get it back to that shithole that it was in the 80s.
Yo, they're being accepting, monkey. No cash bail is good for the minority community.
Fuck.
But the propaganda runs so deep, though, that people never think these people destroyed your homes. Like, people in red states aren't the ones suffering like we are here because they keep that shit out for the most part. So it's like, it is minority neighborhoods that have suffered under these policies. It is people who live in cities that have suffered under these policies. And so, it just shows how absolutely incompetent the Republican Party is, because so many people have said to me over the last couple of years, oh, New York, they shouldn't even try there. I'm like, just in my lifetime, we've had Republican mayors, senators, governors. And, thank God Lee Zeldin did a great job in the last election and he came a lot closer. But it's just having to pick up the slack of so many years of neglect of them just doing nothing. Like they just give up on so many different parts of the country.
Well, they're afraid of winning. They
Yes.
actually have to do something.
Yep.
Well, when they do win, they just capitulate anyway. So they're so afraid of the press. They're so goddamn afraid of the press. Tell the press to get
That's what
fucked.
I think happened with COVID with Trump. Is I think that deep down he wants people to like him, and he buckled.
Yeah, I think Trump going into this next election, he's going to have a lot to answer for COVID. A lot of the policies.
Because I see people just trying to act like none of this ever happened. I'm like, I was segregated, and we're just trying to, and as millions of people were, and they're just trying to sweep it under the rug like this never happened.
Yeah, it was a bad time for him, and he pushed back against it, and there was a lot of pushback that he got for the lip. Do you remember the shit he got for not wearing a mask? Like when
but even that, he would never say anything against it, and it was written all over his face that he hated it, but he would never say anything. He would just try to kind of like weasel out of it.
Yeah, quite the opposite. What he would say is, hey, I wear it when there's people around, which makes sense. If you're going to wear masks, that would be when it's appropriate in the first place. But instead of just going, yeah, because they're stupid. But it was all because of the press push.
Yeah, he should have trusted his instincts more. I think he got advice from people like Lindsey Graham, who are a bunch of spineless cowards. And they're like, oh, you have to do this. You have to do this.
No, no, Lindsey's just an old bachelor. He just can't find the right woman.
Yeah. We used to call those consummate bachelors, and that was like old people code for gay.
That dude's going to open a flower shop when he retires from Congress.
Hey, she is a very classy lady.
She really is. Lindsay, it's 2023. Nobody cares that you're gay. All right.
Yeah. You don't have to use code names now.
Well, his lover died, so it's rough. John McCain.
But it is so weird that you don't see him pop up with like a beard, because Cory Booker, I'm sorry, that dude likes balls. I'm not judging him for it.
Gayer than like me and Richard Simmons combined.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
But even he, for political sake, like, no, I have a girlfriend. Of course I do.
Yeah, here's Rosario Dawson pretending she's interested. Yeah. You had to get an actress? Really? That's helping your cause. Good job, dude.
He is an actress.
Yeah. It's 2023. Nobody cares that you're gay anymore, guys. It's all right. Bring it on out. Plus, you'll probably get to be the first gay something, and that'll be wonderful for you.
Yeah, there's gonna at some point be someone who's gonna pretend to be gay just for the adulation.
I was hoping that'd be George Santos.
Well, I mean, I already think we have people who are doing the trans thing just for Adelaide. They're not really, but I'm going to throw on a dress. I'm not a boy anymore. It's like, stop it. Just stop.
It's ridiculous. It's just these words have no more meaning.
They don't. Words mean what they need them to mean in the moment, which kind of makes conversation hard. So hey, we're not supposed to be in the Tower of Babel. That wasn't a how-to guide. It was a warning.
What really sucks though is younger people being on dates, like constantly trying to get consent and affirmation and all this other shit. You gotta dance on all the eggshells. Like, how do people get laid now? Like young people, like 20 years old, the minefield that you have to go through. It's no wonder there's so many Title IX complaints. Some dude's just trying to score, and the girl's like, "You didn't get affirmative consent for touching my hair."
That was, by the way, one of the big arguments I got. So that year when I was watching Ranting, when I started watching Ranting Monkey all the time and all that year when I was still around all these people, but my views were changing, I would get into fights with them over the dumbest shit. And one of them was, do you remember when Netflix instituted a policy that men cannot look women in the eye longer than 5 seconds?
Yes.
So how dare I think that's stupid? I hate women.
hate the whole feminist mindset. The whole idea that, oh my God, you looked at me. Yeah, I have eyes. You're in public. Get over it.
Oh, and it's gonna be these dumpy broads, these big fat dumpy beluga whales that are like, you looked me in the eye. You're clearly sexually attracted to me.
Well, it's kind of funny. The only time you see
yourself, Tubby.
The only time you see an attractive woman going into that mindset is if it's some Hollywood starlet nonsense. Otherwise, yeah, it's some fat, blue-haired, purposefully trying to make themselves ugly person. Like, you looked at me. Like, yeah, because you're ugly as fuck. It had nothing to do with wanting to bang you.
I get that all the time from not just the transes, but it's always these men, these like older men who look like fucking Buffalo Bill, wearing like a house dress with like long greasy hair, and they'll tweet me like, you're sexually attracted to me. I think you like me like that. I'm like, don't flatter yourself.
Nah, bro.
I don't want to be a burger pet. Leave me alone.
I don't want to put the lotion on its skin.
Ever.
Yeah.
I run into that a lot, where this has become a thing where it's like to own you, that, oh, you must want me. Like, no, I was pointing out how stupid you are. I was literally telling you were dumb.
Someone said that to me the other day. They're like, you probably like that, and you probably watch trans porn.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they don't know how to deal with me, because whatever they say, I'll just agree with. I'm like, you're right. I'm watching it right now. Ooh, give me that forearm skin. It's so sexy.
Well, that's if you,
if
you speak against any of the alphabet bullshit, that's what they always come back with. You're just secretly gay, or you're
but
Lindsey
the ugliest people do that. You'll never see someone attractive saying that.
Well, attractive people are out getting laid and doing real stuff.
True.
They have jobs. It's always the unemployed fat losers with like outrageous hair because they're desperate for attention. This is some sort of negative attention seeking, where any attention is good, so they'll take all the worst of it. And they're like, oh, you're so mean to me. And they're getting all aroused by it. Like, you're such an asshole. I hate you. Don't stop.
Yes. And also they know that it's the magic words now that you can say to get away with anything. Yeah, you can get away with anything if you just say the magic alphabet words. Conversation over.
Yeah. Well, they're only talking to one of my altars.
What'd you say?
They're only talking to one of my altars. I have like 300 personalities. They're only insulting one. Obviously, it's they're bigoted against that personality.
Oh, I just have to bring this up, Mike. You're probably going to be totally in the dark on this, but ladies and gentlemen, the Chevron deference is being challenged at the Supreme Court right now.
Oh, for fuck's sake! We're going to hear about that again.
Chevron deference. It's this idea that came a long time ago because of a case with Chevron, where the Supreme Court decided that even if Congress didn't give an agency, say the FAA, the FEC, any of these, didn't give them specific instructions on that they can do X, say like it didn't tell them that they could limit the amount of bandwidth X can use. Well, it's kind of implied that they can do that so that these federal agencies get this unlimited fucking power. And that's been our law for decades.
Was that part of the Patriot Act?
No, it predates that by quite a bit.
Oh, wow. Sadly.
And
with like the FTC, the FCC, ATF, even the CIA, they all have used this in the past.
And it's this way they can say, oh no, we have the power to do that. And it's up in the Supreme Court because of a fishing thing where these fishing vessels have to have monitors on their boats, and they have to pay for the monitors. And these guys are like, no, this is fucking asinine. We shouldn't have to pay for it. And these guys apparently are paid very well. And so the Supreme Court did decide that they are taking up that case. So the Chevron deference, I can say that word, may be going away, and please fucking God let it go away because it is unconstitutional bullshit.
No, if they get rid of it, I'm going to write a science fiction novel where they always have to keep raising the Chevron defense, because that's how you said it the first time I heard it, and I'm going to continue to use it that way because every time you say deference, I hear defense.
I say defense as a joke because it's nonsensical.
No,
and
it's a
use it as
sci-fi term.
But the actual term is deference, Chevron deference.
Real quick,
I gotta read up on this.
Yeah, it's a sneaky way the government agencies get to get around the rules, and they've been abusing it for 40 years. But real quick, thank you, Keldrick. You guys got to bring Mike back in the future. He's a riot, the good kind.
Aw, thanks.
I told Mike he has an open invitation whenever he wants to. Mike, I just sent you an article about the Supreme Court case that just came up. So
oh, nice. Where'd you send Twitter?
Yeah, it's in your DMs.
Oh, cool. I'll check out. I can't log on to Twitter on my computer because I've been banned so many times.
All right, guys, I'm going to shut off the YouTube part of this. We're almost in an hour, but there's so many things I want to talk about that I just don't trust YouTube to let us talk about.
Come to Rumble. Come join us.
We'll be over on Rumble. Can somebody in the chat? I
just dropped the link.
Thank you, Jack. So, YouTube people, it's been a pleasure, but I don't want to lose my channel over, being honest. I feel like that's a bad way to go. So take care, you guys. I love you. I'm not singing for you because I only sing at the end of the actual show, and that'll be over there. So take care, guys. We'll see you. Rumble, hang out. We'll be right there.
You fucking suck, dude.